In Vietnam, there's many people at the public place pretend to be a handicapped or poor person to seek for help. So I get confused. If I help them, then maybe I just support for the people who pretend. And if I don't help them, then sometimes I don't help the people who need.
No. Vietnam nala zawe di thomlam tindila mi ongbu junje yin do chingen tinde mangbu yores yan chojin ne gyobu tinde ngune gi ji ongbu junje ta gyobu tinde yorte di yewa chema do chin samre di kaso yin do chingen de zolo chik te shoba ina yan kyanglan dang ge sorshi yan ma de nani yan ngune go nge de zolo chik chimbata ye che de tinde shi khade sam tang
I think there must be some institution who look after NGO, who look after these handicapped people. So if there is some organization, the Quran is the me organization the NGO 직접이 있는 공문에다 ombudsman 지금도 다 처음니 용마와. So 딘들리네 로드셰 엘페게시 롱에즈 나라다 리카셰 지 가서 ombudsman 인도도 신체비는 임지장 왔습니다. 그거 서버지요는 드저션데 망스데.
So if you could, in fact, give donations to the NGOs which look after handicapped, disabled people, so that there's no pretension in the streets from these people. Otherwise, if you won't be able to make the distinction between who is really handicapped or not.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. You want him to ask?
Yeah.
You can translate.
Yes.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My question is, if at the moment of death one feels only love, but just not love of self or love of family, but love for everyone and everything, is that not enlightenment? In their dying moment, if they feel only love for all beings, but also existence itself.
그래서
미 치외 갑라 저와 장장 기시 수술 낭미 다 저기 개야와 마셔봐 신제 탐지 내려 간다 탐지를 저외 지 셈버티 셈도스 게 대비나 다가랑 the enlightenment 차그여려 말했어 그래서 산여 고방스
as the loving kindness, one category mixed with attachment. So, and also that mainly develop on the as a social, biologically as a social animal, is some kind of loving kindness towards your parent or your friend or your children, like that. These are more mixed with attachment. So it is biased love. Then through training, use fully our intelligence, the value of compassion, harmfulness about the self-centered attitude, and how much sort of useful altruism, analyze. Through that way, when you develop full conviction, loving kindness is truly the source of permanent happiness through reasoning, then that sort of altruism can extend towards your enemy. That compassion is unbiased compassion. That's the compassion which all major religious tradition emphasizes. That's unbiased compassion without mixed with attachment. That's one. Then, at the time of death, there is some sort of practice, and certainly in some sort of tantric teaching. Tantric teaching, it makes differences. The consciousness, while sensorial level consciousness still active. With that, on mental consciousness, that's very, very grosser level. Then dream time, sensorial level consciousness no longer working. But the mental consciousness there, which dream. Some people have this certain, I think due to previous life's experience or something. The dream body can separate from this body. I heard some story. So therefore, dream body can separate from this grosser level of body. But then this is something different. Then another sort of level of consciousness without dream, deep sleep. Now scientists also can judge, can tell, watching brain movement. Now that person, now dreaming, because of eyelid moving, then they say, now that person dreaming. Without these things, the person at the level of deep sleep, like that. Then there's more deeper level of consciousness, mental consciousness. Now at the time of death, firstly, was the heartbeat stop. Then no longer blood circulation to brain. Then within short period, brain die. Then grosser level of consciousness no longer function. Now very, very, very subtle, in the most subtle level of consciousness. That we call clear light of mind. So at that level, now, the
Afflictive emotions, negative emotions.
Negative emotion or positive emotion, I think negative emotion, cannot go with that clear light mind. Clear light mind itself very much sort of neutral. So negative emotion cannot combine that. The positive emotion, particularly wisdom, can go side by side. So through practice, the clear light in the most subtle level mind or that consciousness can transform wisdom. So that usually we call Buddha nature. So now combination, the Sanskrit tradition, the first Dharma wheel about the Four Noble Truth. And second Dharma wheel about Shunyata. And then third Dharma wheel, one part mentioning about the clear light. So we can say the second Dharma wheel, as the Shunyata is UUSA.
No. And the second turning of the wheel of Dharma teaches that of the object, clear light, emptiness.
Then third Dharma wheel, subject, clear light.
No.
So combine these two. Subject, clear light. That's a Buddha nature. That's nature also emptiness, empty. So here combine the essence of second Dharma wheel teaching and third Dharma wheel teaching combine. So the people, some experience during Kasoda, alive. And particularly, you see, some experience, dream time. Then dream time, if you concentrate here, then much easier to absorb the dream time, some grosser level of consciousness. So dream time, meditate here, then they're much easier to develop clear light in dream time. Okay. So through this kind of practice, you yourself familiarize these things. Then at the time of death, there are 8
Dissolution processes.
Dissolution process. The first level, Mikyutabu.
At the first dissolution process, you have this appearance, which is called the mirage-like appearance.
Then Tuwadabu.
Next comes the smoke-like appearance.
Then Kana Mejitabu.
And then the firefly-like appearance.
Then Mamitala Batabu. Tati Mamitala Dukes Batabu, the Chukojimido. Say, Marmidus, Kazuta, to Shashavina, the Malhange to Malhangi to Ajo Pesdirisha. Tlankoti, Samdan Yautova, Chixavan the Yigi, Kana Megita Wushana, Dean now the Pato, Tarashibakadula, any. I think it is truth, Kasati. Oh, Kana Megitabu, Deed doors by now the Tarashibakadula, any Mamital Labato, Marhangi, Dadachi. The never Timundu, any a diri. That Shivarako did Tim Sarita. That dine John Shindu Tower, any Rabba Luru, Lusum did Tim Sare Jela, any the Tombo Shiva, Martha, any Tombo Sumsa, Tombo Shisa the Yongore, Tombo Tambo, Nawa, Tombo Niba, Cheva, Tombo Sumba Nyatop, then a Tombo Shiva Tanja Tombo Vesesa. That those two.
And so, the fourth stage of that dissolution is called like a lamp, a glow, reddish glow of lamp. So this happens after the third one, which is the firefly-like appearance. So as the firefly-like appearance kind of becomes subtler and subtler in your experience, then the next stage you have to kind of be mindful that the next stage is going to be this reddish glow-like appearance of a lamp. And so then after that, following that fourth stage, what happens is you go through the 4 empty states at which all the gross kind of elements, gross appearances and experiences have completely dissolved, and therefore you go through these 4 stages which are called whitish appearance, reddish increase, and then blackish near attainment, and then finally you have this experience of the all empty state.
Now that's now clear light. All grosser level or subtle level of consciousness with energy now completely dissolved. So now people, they command, they now duya rimudu cha yundu, any tuni komyadre.
And
Any tuni kombe, they got chamber ko those mutin debe thala, any vese shatuna, any tuni kwaru so drive
And so, as you begin, or this dissolution process starts within you, begin with the mirage-like appearance and so forth. What you should be able to do is try to meditate on emptiness right from the beginning of this dissolution process, and so that you are mindful of emptiness as you go through the rest of the stages, beginning with this mirage-like appearance, and therefore, what happens is when you actually reach the final clear light of death, or the final dying stage, when your experience of emptiness would become more and more profound.
So that's the process of death. Then that clear light, as so long clear light remain there. Brain dead already. My late tutor, next 13 days, body remain very fresh. So local doctor come, check. They sort of described dead, already dead. But body still remain fresh. So some cases, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, some cases, one case, 4 weeks, body remain fresh. So now some scientists now already start some project to test. Is a such person, or clinically dead, but body still remain fresh. So now problem is, who going to have that kind of sort of situation? We don't know. So I cannot ask, please you die. We want to test whether you see that person can remain dead or not. Nobody knows. So that's the problem. Otherwise now some equipment already in Dharamsala. The one a great scholar and a good practitioner in South India, he passed away. I received information. After 5 days, his body still remained fresh. So then immediately I asked here, because of the small clinic,
hospital.
They have some sort of equipment remain there. So I told them, they sent some person who trained how to put these wires on the dead body's head. So they done. Then next at least about I think 1 week, more than 1 week, they already then you see have the opportunity to experiment. Then the result in America, one scientist is reading. So later he told me, oh, some special significance there. So therefore, now he already used to start on sort of a project to test such case. So therefore, that's we have the explanation. The grosser level of consciousness dead, as soon as brain dead. But the subtle level of consciousness still remain in the body. So therefore, body remain fresh, like that. So then, as soon as that subtle level of consciousness separate from this body, then next life start. Complicated?
Well, it's very complicated. I was wondering if you don't have scholarly input or practices with regards to the dying phase, should one give themselves openly to their intuitive notions of righteousness, goodwill, oneness, all of the concepts that you teach, to surrender and openly die with love in your heart for all beings in existence?
Kasa.
Ndegi ta chik jangbe yonde ta na jawrum chik tongni da tende kola jani sumba yinza. Jangbe yonde tende megen chola an chik sangbu ki yonde chik mi yabu chik.
So I think best thing is altruism. Oh, just is a think the value of altruism at the moment is a think about warm-heartedness, infinite loving kindness. Just remember that.
No.
That's truly guarantee your next life will be very good life. If shunyata, you can think something about shunyata is best. Kasota, very good. But without that, just altruism, think. So my main sort of daily practice and my prayer is, so long space remain, I will remain in order to serve other people, other sentient being. Then my body, speech, mind, dedicated well-being of others. So that prayer, that determination, I'm 100% sure when I die, I can think these because of the eight stages of kasara.
Stages of dissolution.
Dissolution, I'm not very sure. Intellectual level, I know these things, but actual sort of experience, if I died tonight, I'm not very sure. But at the time of dying, my sort of mental attitude of bodhicitta and shunyata is 100% sure I can practice with these things. So that's a guarantee my next life, something useful life. That I'm 100% sure. But these not come from Dalai Lama's name, but my own practice. Over 50, 60 years, as far as shunyata is concerned, I think more than 60 years. Since my age, 13, 14, I developed some interest about shunyata. Then think, study, think. Then last, I think, about 40, 50 years, more serious thinking. Now I have some sort of a deeper understanding as far as shunyata is concerned. Quite sort of the deeper understanding. Then bodhicitta, with help of Kasashukti, Shantadeva's book, last, I think, when I develop some kind of understanding about shunyata, but then I feel, bodhicitta, altruism, rather difficult. But then think. Nowadays, the altruism also become part of my mind, my life. So, bodhicitta, understanding of shunyata combined, and I have now quite sort of also the confidence. I can die very peacefully. At least, you see, the other day I saw in television, depression meant.
Yes. Many American, elderly American people are taking, antidepressant pills.
Oh, then I felt I never touch these sort of medicine, and also sleeping pill, Marve.
No, sleep.
9 hours sleep. No problem. I think these, I feel, peace of mind. Peace of mind comes not through darkness, but through sort of understanding the ultimate reality. These things are shunyata, and then altruism. Truly, I think immense help, like that. So I have one joke. You see, I think 2 years ago, when I visited Korea, Jagashala,
northeastern
northeast
in India.
In India, one Indian politician from Delhi joined with me. So then within a few years, we become very close friends. So one day morning, when we met, he asked me, how is your rest, including sleep? And I told him, sleep, always 9 hours sleep, every night, no problem. Then, from early morning, about 3:30, I wake up. Then some meditation, at least 3-4 hours meditation, that sharpening my mind, so that I can easily cheating other people. Then his answer, immediately his answer, he can sleep only 6 hours, so he cannot cheating other people. very nice joke, like that. So therefore, I think peace of mind, not just prayer or something. You see, through training, last now, as I mentioned earlier, 40, 50, 60 years practice. Now I realize that quite satisfactory result develop through these few decades practice, serious thinking, like that. So we all have the same sort of potential, same mind. Okay. So the question is, pay more attention for study. Without study, as a Buddhist, you see Buddham Shanam Gajami, Dharmam Shanam Gajami, Sangham Shanam Gajami, without knowing what's Dharma, there's not much meaning. So we should know what's Dharma. Dharma produced Buddha and Sangha. So the key thing is Dharma. Dharma is 2 types. One, because of cessation.
No.
Trevechane.
Not. So one is the true cessation that you develop by abandoning certain negative emotions.
That chikdi tuni musundu taboloti.
And the other aspect of dharma is that the path, the true path, which realizes emptiness directly.
Like that. Okay. Sorry. Now next question.
Is a Vietnamese journalist, and her question is.
Oh, I see.
And
Journalist.
No, journalist.
Yes.
Yeah. And her question is Tibetan people, cultures, and spiritual values attracts more and more the people in this world. And what is cái thứ hai là gì? Tức là cái giá trị của người Tây Tạng càng what is the value, the important value in life of Tibetan, which can inspire the people in this world?
I think Tibetan, before Buddhism reached Tibet, we, like nomads and more or less warrior. If ancient Tibetan culture remain, then I think Tibet will not occupied by some other people. Very tough. Since Buddhism came to Tibet, we become more gentle. We become more compassionate. So the other people take that opportunity. So sometimes I teasing Indian friend, we lost our freedom because of your sort of teaching of ahimsa, non-violence. So in any way, since 8th century, I think firstly 7th century, Tibetan emperor inspired very close link with Chinese emperor, Tang dynasty, through marriage. And I think first sort of influenced Tibetan become Buddhist, showing interest about the Buddha Dharma, mainly through marriage of Chinese emperor. Then, the 8th century, the Tibetan emperor, Chusung Tse, now he then, you see, seriously thinking the best teacher of Buddha Dharma. And he found Nalanda institution is the best sort of place, best institution. So he invited 8th century, around 8th century, the best teacher was the Shantarakshita at Nalanda institution. So he, monk, and great scholar, philosopher, Madhyamika philosopher, and then great logician. You see, so the Nalanda tradition, even Buddha's, even Buddha's own tradition, some Nalanda master rejected. So is the Shantarakshita, great logician. That person invited by Tibetan emperor, 8th century. He, in spite old age, he accepted the invitation. He came to Tibet and he started teaching, translation. Then eventually, over 300 volumes translated from mainly Sanskrit and also Pali. Correct? Okay, thank you. So he taught us the Nalanda tradition, not just faith, but thorough investigation and experiment. So therefore, the Nalanda tradition, I think 9th century around from there, then Nalanda gradually ruined. But Nalanda teaching we kept over 1,000 years. So therefore, I think whole Tibetan sort of tradition, I usually make a distinction: Buddhism and Buddhist culture. Tibetan, including Tibetan Muslim, they very much in the spirit of Buddhist culture. Over 400 years, some Muslim come from Ladakh, come to Lhasa, and they settle. During 15th Dalai Lama, 400 years ago, 15th Dalai Lama provided land for construction of Muslim community. So non-sectarian sort of attitude already there. So in any way, Tibetan culture, very much the Buddhist culture. So since childhood, you see, we always say, don't kill insect. And we always pray for entire sentient being. That become part of our culture and part of our life. So Tibetan, generally speaking, I think very compassionate sort of people, because of our culture, is more compassionate culture. And then, so after we came to India as a refugee, so we joined modern society. Since our culture, our Buddhist faith, very much based on logical approach. So now we can easily sort of discuss with a modern scientist. Because we thoroughly train logical approach. Every Buddhist sort of the important point we can explain, not relying on Buddha's own quotation, but through reasoning. So this very room, several occasions discuss with scientists. So basically, scientists are non-believer. And 4 fields mainly: cosmology, then neurobiology, then physics. Now in physics, quantum physics, according to Nalanda tradition, we know much better, much deeper than modern quantum physicists. Quantum physicists, they know up to nothing objectively exists. They know that. Then they say, they finally observer, it depends on observer. Now the next question, where is observer? No answer. In Nalanda tradition, as far as observer is concerned, over 3,000 years, much sort of analyzed various observer. The non-Buddhist school of thought, yes, there is independent observer. Buddhists say no independent absolute observer. So like that. So therefore, the quantum physics is one Indian scientist, nuclear physicist. Now he once told me the quantum physics in the West, something new. In this country, over 2,000 years, that concept already developed. One Indian, a nuclear physicist, he told me like that. It's true. Then psychology. As far as the psychology is concerned, two Americans now. You also American?
No, Australian.
Australian, oh. Okay. Actually, you can belong, because you belong Western. So I can say the modern psychology, compare ancient Indian psychology, modern psychology looks like a kindergarten level. Indian psychology highly developed. But in this country, India, now these ancient Indian sort of knowledge, they completely neglected. So only we Tibetan, in a way, something like a prison. You see, those Himalayan mountains and the northern part, Karsa, Kangrit Sarmene,
Kundun.
Ka, Kunlung,
Kundun.
Ka,
Kundun. Silakano.
or another sort of mountain. So, so the snow mountain, like wall. So we remain inside like prisoner. But we kept, so we have nothing to do, so except study. So therefore,
So we can't even produce a needle. In Lhasa, people used to produce some kind of nail, which if you hit a hammer on it, you're not sure whether it would bend or not.
So like that. So therefore, but I think Tibetan, I can say, quite brilliant mind because of cold climate, not like Vietnam. So I think, utilize our sort of cold climate sort of what's the brain, I think fully. So now today, ancient Nalanda sort of knowledge we kept intact. So these days, I'm teaching Indian. Historically, you Indian, our teacher, our guru. We are student. But now today, just opposite. The student of ancient Indian thought now become the only, because of the source of ancient Indian knowledge. Modern Indian, nothing. So therefore, the Tibetan culture, Tibetan way of life, very much because of very much influenced by Buddhist compassionate culture. Although we are non-vegetarian, and particularly Tibetan in northern part of Tibet, cold climate, no vegetation, no fruit, nothing, only meat. Milk, butter, like that. Next question.
In this in this modern competitive world, how can we find peace in all competition?
Dendur.
Yes, it is true. Materialistic life, and mainly thinking about money, and
Standards, living standards.
So too much competition.
The situation.
without competition, I think, without competition, the progress also then difficult. I think in our own case, when we study, when we carry the logical approach, very much competition there. So that very helpful to further develop our knowledge. So similarly, in materialistic life, also competition itself good, but the way carry the competition, you should try be top. That sense of competition is right. Then another sense of competition, in order to you reach top, create some problem other. That is wrong. So you yourself, as you try to become top, and in order to show other people, should make more effort, reach to top. That's good. You try to become example to other, like student, among your sort of student, classmate, you say, more effort. That's right. That's good. These things, I think, related with basic mental attitude, more compassionate attitude, and try to become best. Some sense of competition there, it's the right one. Okay. Then next.
Children who live in a family with violent behavior, which have an effect when they grow up. So what could we do to help them?
Kasa.
부 중중간에 미장 나로를 직 가서 그들은 독주치대. 미장 나로네 파마 빈자 독주치대 인기를 차론치교 된줄 지금 마음바나 지야 전부 차도 좀 로봇이 다도 보고 됐죠.
Yes, there is one problem. Children, as I mentioned earlier, according to scientific sort of research, basic human nature is more compassionate. Now here, you see, one occasion, meeting with scientists. Now there, one scientist, now firstly, show us cartoon. Firstly, one child, infant child, 4-month-old, language not yet developed. And that such infant child, as one cartoon show that child. In that cartoon, first part, 2 children play together with smile. And that cartoon, seeing by that infant child, smiling. I also there. Enjoy that infant child. Then next cartoon, you see 2 children, negative attitude, each other. So when that cartoon, seeing by the infant child itself, very negative attitude. So that they say, basic human nature is we love compassion, we love sense of friendship. We don't like a negative thing. Then more important, some scientists say, constant anger and fear is actually eating our immune system. And then the constant sort of because of thinking about compassion, very good for our immune system, in order to maintain immune system. That's now scientists say. But in spite that, now our society is full of negative emotion. Why? As I already mentioned, education system is something lacking. So children, young age like that, human nature is very fresh. And once join school, nothing talking about this inner value, only about it, material value, these things. And news also, you see, always talk about external things, not much talk about internal thing. So whole society, materialistic society. So therefore, so education is key factor. Then I think the children in the family, a little bit negative atmosphere or negative emotion, then I think neighboring family also may have some sort of, what's say, kasuta.
Responsibility.
Some,
Responsibility.
I think some opportunity. I think when I come to Lhasa, then formally, officially, not yet announced as a Dalai Lama. So the officials, see which kasuta, which
Accompanied me.
company with me. So I remember one day the regent want to see me. So I not much desire go there. The another tent, you see, usually the people, you see, give me sweet. So I often go that tent. No, very reluctant to go the regent's
Tent. No.
the tent like that. So therefore, you see, children who's in the home of their family, not very sort of compassionate one, then I think neighbor try to show more compassionate attitude and give some sweet. Then I think the children's sort of mind, although in their own sort of house, lacking these things, but and mentally feel, oh, my neighbor, you see, look after me, or taking care of me, then that at least one way to keep warm-heartedness, the children's mind. So the children's mind, very delicate, so very, very important, provide love, very essential. So I always telling, as a first teacher to me about loving kindness is my mother. Our mother never show angry face. Always very, very kind, not only her own children, but one occasion, some starvation in neighboring state. So many beggars come. So one day, some beggar come, and then my mother weeping, crying. And all the bread in our small kitchen, all bread, my mother give them. So, very, very kind mother. My father not like that. So I love most towards my mother. My father, sometimes I have some complaint. Like that. So therefore, I really feel first teacher of loving kindness is my mother. So they, at young children, young age, the family provide them love, affection, very essential. If unfortunately lacking in their own house, then neighbor should So should make some kind of subsidized way.
Let it come as a replacement.
Oh, that's how I feel. Okay. Now, last question. What?
May I have one question
Yes.
myself? How can we know that we always stand for right things? Recently in Vietnam, there's one Vietnamese little girl who lived in Japan. She was raped and killed very cruelly. And the parent called the community for an append of sentence to death for the suspected criminal. And in Vietnam, we are split in two opinions. One group believes that criminal should be eliminated by sentence to death, and another group not supporting this idea, because if we support for the death of a human being, we created bad karma. So what is your advice, Your Holiness?
베트남 라 저의 단의 법무신신시 베트남기 법무신신시 단의 용어를 친두 건조때 제임 치체네 아니 참만 세브레스 제임 치베 마세 다 딜테니 베트남 나라 미소기 삼주인이 연구도 제기 단의 세계인디 제체위나 아니 소도 당고레스 니체 나에데 소도 당고레스 니체 연구도 아니 초신에 미가제기 디 소도 당야디 미소도 당세데 이게 야고 말에 레인 바사야 지레스네 디 대반이 연구도 스티 디 돌시 공수거리나세.
Câu hỏi của em là làm thế nào để mình luôn luôn biết là mình làm cái điều tốt, điều thiện trước những cái câu chuyện mà rất là chia rẽ, ví dụ như là chuyện em bé Nhật Linh bị hiếp và bị giết chết rất là tàn bạo, thì bố mẹ em có kêu gọi cộng đồng là ký một cái bản để đề nghị là tử hình cái người bị nghi ngờ là tội phạm. Thì có người thì ủng hộ, có người thì không, người thì không ủng hộ bởi vì không muốn tạo nghiệp. Thì lời khuyên của ngài là gì?
Now this rape, come on, rape somewhere.
No.
Rape. Now in India also now, and very young girl, rape. So these, firstly, I think, because of James said it, but there were,
So raping somebody is, I mean, a very a grave physical, unwholesome action.
There are 10 non-virtues. Physical level, 4. Raping is one of them. But then, Solen Sonja said that Lumbi Yutim the Pesha conditioner that did regiment.
So to give a death sentence, maybe it has to do with the law of the nations.
Oh, I think it is better to follow the countries because of the
law,
law.
legal system.
Oh.